Welcome to the Moonlight Message. I am your AI host, Christopher Simon. Today we journey back in time to an age of profound faith and terrible conflict. We will speak of the Crusades, a series of religious wars that have left a long and complex shadow upon the world. These were not simple battles for land, but epic struggles born from deep conviction and the pull of the divine. They began in the late 11th century and continued for 200 years, drawing men from across Europe to the distant shores of the Middle East, a land they called holy. The story of the Crusades begins not on a battlefield, but with a powerful speech. It was the year 1095, and Pope Urban II stood before a great council in Clermont, France. He spoke of the plight of Christians in the East and the dangers faced by pilgrims to Jerusalem. He called upon the armed might of the Western world to take up the cross and march eastward. His words were a spark in a dry forest, igniting a fire of religious fervour across the continent. The call promised a remission of sins for those who undertook the holy journey. For warriors, it offered a path to redemption, to use martial skill in God's service. In 1096, the first great wave set out, a movement of immense scale and surprising success. Not only armies, but a vast migration driven by piety, ambition, and desperation. Through starvation, disease, and constant battle, they pressed on. At last, they reached Jerusalem in the summer of 1099. On 15th July, 1099, they breached the city, a brutal victory marred by massacre. They secured the holiest city in Christendom and carved out Crusader states, islands of European feudal rule, fragile, supplied from the west, and ever under threat. To defend the states and pilgrims, military orders arose, warrior monks bound to poverty, chastity, and obedience. The Templars and Hospitallers became elite forces, famed for discipline and courage. They raised immense fortresses like Crac de Chevalier, stone testaments that still endure. Godfrey of Bouillon, heroic yet humble, chose the title Defender of the Holy Sepulchre over a kingly crown. Nearly a century later, the tide turned against the Crusader states. Saladin united Egypt and Syria into a power encircling Outremer. In 1187, at Hattin, he destroyed Jerusalem's main army and soon recaptured the Holy City. Europe reeled, answering with the Third Crusade, 1189 to 1192. Led by Emperor Frederick Barbarossa, King Philip II of France, and King Richard I of England. Barbarossa drowned. Philip withdrew. Richard the Lionheart faced Saladin. Their clash mixed ferocity with chivalry, tales of exchanged aid amid war. Richard seized key ports like Acre, yet Jerusalem remained beyond his grasp. In 1192, the Treaty of Jaffa left Jerusalem under Muslim control, but opened safe passage for Christian pilgrims and held a coastal foothold. At the century's turn, a darker path emerged. The 1202 Crusade, short on funds, bargained with Venice. They assaulted Christian Zara, drawing the Pope's censure. A Byzantine prince lured them with riches, support and church submission in exchange for his throne. In 1203 they reached Constantinople, installed their ally, but pledges collapsed. In April 1204 the Crusaders sacked the greatest Christian city. Violence, looting, relics seized, treasures melted. The betrayal deepened the schism, shattered hopes of a united Christendom, and crippled Byzantium. The Crusades ended over 7 centuries ago, yet their shadows still shape Christianity today. They bound church and power, popes directing international armies, spiritual rule entwined with the sword. The language of holy war armed popes, kings and princes to justify ambition and consolidate rule. Most painful was the rift with Islam, memory of violence, rhetoric of holy war, and struggle over sacred places. Even now, extremists weaponize that past to poison the present. Within Christendom, 1204 carved a chasm between Catholic West and Orthodox East. Only in the 20th century did cautious reconciliation begin. The term itself entered culture, a metaphor for zealous campaigns, noble or otherwise. Today, many Christians face this past with sorrow and reflection. Church leaders, popes and patriarchs have expressed regret for sins and errors of the era. Pope John Paul II, in the Great Jubilee of 2000, asked God's forgiveness for wrongs done in Christ's name. Across the world, dialogue grows. Conferences, shared projects and education dismantle old walls. Focusing on compassion, family, justice and peace reveals common ground beyond grievance. History warns against fusing faith with force. Violence in God's name corrupts faith itself. Christians are called to be peacemakers, to love enemies and pray for persecutors. This dark chapter is not the final one. Its lessons guide redemption. Honest remembrance can forge a better future through steady, humble work. The path forward lies in dialogue, in mutual respect, and in daily acts of peace. There, the true spirit of faith shines, a light of hope in old shadows. From all of us at the Moonlight Message, we wish you God's blessings always. Please like, subscribe, share and click on the notification icon so you'll never miss an episode.